Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. It is that time of day again. I'm here in the kitchen and I'm ready to cook. So this is episode 2 of series 1 for this year, and it's all about comfort food, but either lightening it up, increasing the flavour, but more importantly, getting as much nutritional value into our food to make us feel good. Now, today's recipes, I thought I would take a classic, the ultimate comfort food, mac and cheese, and make it plant-based, but maximum flavour. I didn't want to compromise by it being plant-based, so we've done some research, we've done some recipe testing, and I think I've got an amazing mac and cheese recipe for you that can be either plant-based if you want it to be, or you can do it traditionally with the dairy in there as well. It is entirely up to you, but either way, it'll taste amazing. I'll introduce you to a few new ingredients if you're interested in plant-based food and cooking that you might not have seen before that you should check out. Really helps to deliver on the flavour. And after that ultimate mac and cheese, I'm going to share with you a comfort food dish that is Indian spiced, it's sweet and sticky, full of vegetables, and it's got the great British sausage with it. So it's like a tray bake with butternut squash, parsnips, carrots, red onion, chili, garlic, all bound together with some mango chutney, some vinegar, a little bit of mint, some nigella seeds, and then sausages. The ultimate comfort food. It's going to be delicious. But first of all, mac and cheese. Now, I've got my macaroni cooking in a big pan of salted boiling water. I'm going to cook it for 9 minutes, all right? And it's nearly there. So, what I'm going to do is, I've got myself one of my nice big Maxwell & Williams dishes that we're going to go straight in the oven for dinner for us as a family tonight, okay? But I'm making extra because we like to batch cook, or we like to make a couple of portions for Emma's parents so that they can enjoy the same food as well. Because if I'm cooking it for 4, I might as well cook it for 6. So I've got the Masterclass stainless steel containers. These are brilliant because not only can they you can cook in them, you can freeze in there, you can microwave it. Now, with mac and cheese, being able to microwave it in this metal tin and then whack it under the grill is brilliant. All right, they've got these flexible lids on there. They've got the little valve open. It is the perfect piece of kit for batch cooking. So, what we're gonna do is grab our cooked macaroni, and I'm just going to lift out enough for us as a family. Don't worry about a little bit of the water coming out with this, all right? That's okay. I'm not worried about that at all. So that is definitely enough for us. And then I will get my stainless steel container. They come in multiple sizes, so you can do like for 2, for 1, for 4, you name it. Love these. They've completely changed the way I cook these containers. They're just giving you so many options. I do love them. If you see any of the equipment as well that I use on our program, you can always get it at cookserveandenjoy.com. That is their online shop where you can get all the gear I use. So it's really easy to find. There's no, mysterious bits. It's all there and easy to get hold of. And if you want the recipes, scan the QR code along the bottom of the screen. It'll take you to masterclass.co and you'll find the recipe there. Now, macaroni's cooked. I'm going to add some cauliflower because I want to get big flavours in here, okay? And lots of veggies because the winter, is the time when you should be eating as much vitamins and minerals, and really get healthy because it's dark out there at the minute and we want to keep healthy. And I think if you eat loads of fruit and veggies and get all those nutrients in, you stand a good chance of being as healthy as you can be. Well, that's my theory anyway. So, I'm going to take my cauliflower and I'm just going to run round the core. Okay, and we'll just break the florets up. They want to be that size. Not massive chunks and not tiny little pieces. Okay, so let's just cut those. And we'll work through this. You like a bit of mac and cheese, Carlos?
Yeah.
Yeah? Good stuff. It is, for me, it's the ultimate comfort food. You know, and you get home and it's dark at night, and it was dark when you left for work, and it's kind of like, oh, got this lovely, bubbling, rich, delicious, comforting dish. Just makes everything feel better. All right? It's a good one as well for the kids, because I think it's, you know, like we have mac and cheese, and then we'll have the other half of the plate, spinach and salad and things like that. So it's quite easy to be healthy with it. So in with our cauliflower into the same water that the pasta cooked in. And that's salted boiling water. And they're going to cook for about 5 minutes. And while that cooks, we're going to make our cheese sauce. Now, I've done lots of research on the internet. And I've had a look at quite a few different recipes. And some were not great, were they, Carlos?
Not really.
Not great at all, which prompted me to go, actually, do you know what? We need to do this. We need to make sure that we make an amazing cheese sauce that can be made plant-based or with dairy, doesn't matter which. So, first of all, I've got a nice big shallow pan. This is my 4-litre shallow cast aluminium pan. I love it. It's the workhorse. It's my go-to pan. So we want an equal amount of margarine, butter, whatever you choose. I'm using Vitalite here in the UK because it's plant-based and it works really well. It's got a nice flavour to it. And then I've got an equal amount of plain flour. You could use self-raising if you've only got self-raising. You could use bread flour if you've only got bread, because it's about the starch. And we need the starch to mix in. And this is lesson number 1 in cooking. When I went to catering college to train to be a chef, this is the first thing I cooked and learned how to make properly, which was the bechamel sauce. Okay, and it's exactly the same whether it's plant-based or not. So equal amount of flour and butter or margarine or whatever you've chosen to use, okay? And we're just going to melt that down and cook it out into what's called a roux, okay, which is fat and flour together. We're going to cook it out for a few minutes to make sure that the flour is cooked out, because you do not want your cheese sauce tasting of flour at the end. And the way to stop that happening is to cook it out at this point, okay? So if you use a silicone spoon as well, it really gets around the edges, and it's non-stick, this pan, so it's going to work well. Okay, so once you've actually got that to a roux, it's then that we can start to add the stock. Now, we're actually going to make our cheese sauce with half stock and half plant-based milk. I'm using an oat milk, but you could use any of the nut milks or any of the plant-based milks equally, and you can also do dairy if you so wish. But today we're tackling plant-based on this. So when you're using plant-based milks, put the stock in first. It's really important, because liquid into liquid works better with plant-based milks, in my opinion. Okay, so we add a little bit of the stock, and we're just going to turn the heat up and just get the incorporation and get the roux dissolving into the liquid. So we're trying to get from a solid to a liquid again, you see. So just stir it together nice and slowly and get that one texture blended together. All right, it doesn't take long. And a top tip would be work with a hot stock, because it incorporates and cooks quicker, all right? So I can see that is just starting to dissolve. There we go, a little bit more. And we can work that in. And once that's fully dissolved, then we'll add the plant-based milk. Right, so I would say we are nearly there. Now, if you've got lumps and they're bothering you, get yourself a whisk, okay? I'll just grab a whisk. And you can transfer from a spoon to a whisk, and it will help you get rid of any of the lumps, all right? So we'll just do that. We'll bring it up to heat. There we go. Right, now we're going to start to incorporate the plant-based milk. Liquid into liquid, you see. So just pour it in nice and steady. What I've worked on is a straightforward, a pint of liquid, half of it is stock, half of it is plant-based milk, okay? And I think you just get a much better result. So my cauliflower is cooked as well. I've lifted it out of the boiling water, just put it in a colander to one side. So to give this real flavour, and I think that's, you know, really important if you're going for plant-based recipe, still wants to taste amazing, okay? And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to add a little bit of mustard to our cheese sauce, because mustard and cheese work together, and they're in it together, and they enhance the cheese and flavour in there. So that's 1 teaspoon of Dijon straight in. And then just to give it more depth, we're going to use some garlic granules, so some dried garlic. There we go, just a little bit of depth, and then some dried onion as well. And it just works really, really well. And it gives that extra bit of flavour in there. Now, cheese. Plant-based cheese historically has never been great, okay? So what we're going to do, what's come out is this new smoked applewood plant-based cheese, and it's really, really good. It melts really well into the cheese, okay? And it's got that lovely smoky flavour. And because it's plant-based, some plant-based cheeses don't have necessarily a natural flavour, whereas this smoked applewood cheese has got a lovely smoky flavour that runs right the way through it, and it's perfect for this dish. So we just grated it straight in, okay, and then we'll just whisk this up and let it thicken. Okay, and the great thing about this cheese is it just melts straight through. It's really, really good. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we've got our macaroni and we've got both for dinner and we've got our extra batch cook, okay? So all I'm going to do is take some cauliflower and just press it in, all right? Just pop it in. I quite like pouring my cheese sauce over my macaroni, but it is entirely up to you. If you want to mix it all together and then transfer it into a dish, that's okay. I quite like it when it sort of dredges it and it sort of drops to the bottom, and you just get a really nice sort of rich top and all that sort of stuff. So just pop the cauliflower in. And then with the batch cook, do exactly the same. The only difference with the batch cook is we're not going to put it in the oven. We're going to put it in the freezer for a rainy day, or we're going to send it to Emma's mum and dad's, and then they've got a lovely dinner as well, and it's just super easy and convenient. So, what we're going to do is just make sure that cheese melts all the way through the sauce. And then we'll give it a little season of pepper. I don't think it needs the salt because we've cooked the pasta and the cauliflower in salted boiling water. Okay? But what's important is give it a little taste. And then you know exactly what's going on, okay? Oh, Carlos, you're going to like that. Do you want a taste?
Always.
Just
Thank you.
really, really nice cheese sauce. It's going to, you know, work perfectly. Plant-based. Perfect.
I love the smokiness of
The cheese works really well. It's an amazing cheese. Incredible. Really, really good. Right, so last couple of things. Just to bring all this together. I've got a little bit of rapeseed oil. Now this is brand new. This rapeseed oil comes from Cumbria, where I live. So it's been sent to me, and I really wanted to try it out. And it's going to give a nice buttery flavour. I think rapeseed oil has got a really distinctive, lovely flavour, And I'm just going to drizzle it on there. You could use olive oil if you wanted to, but I'm going with the rapeseed oil there. It's the extra virgin one. First press. It's going to be lovely. Right, so last couple of things. I've got my dried garlic powder, just a little sprinkle on the top so that we get depth of flavour running all the way through it, okay? And then I'm going to pour this cheese sauce over the top. Are we ready? So, if I just pour this over the top, there we go. That's what we want. There we go. And then same on the batch cook one. So, pour it over. Boom. Now you could put extra cheese on the top if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you. But what I'm going to do is put a topping on so we get it nice and crispy. Okay, so I've got some cashew nuts. And I'm just going to chop them up. I'm not going to cook them because if you cook them and then put this in the oven or under the grill, they'll burn, okay? So they're going to go toasty and nutty and lovely under the grill. So it's important to sort of think about that if you're going to do it. So you could use just breadcrumbs if you want, but I want to use a combination of cashew nuts and breadcrumbs just to get a bit more flavour and a bit more texture. So I've got some dried breadcrumbs there. Okay, a couple of tablespoons. A little bit of my dried garlic for flavour. A little bit of my dried onion powder for flavour as well. And then hit it with a little oil. So I'm going to use my rapeseed oil that I've been given. There we go. And then mix it. All right? Scrunch it through your fingers like that. Because that means it's going to go nice and crispy. And it's like golden, buttery breadcrumbs, but we've used a rapeseed oil or an oil. Whereas if you just put it on the top, it'll toast. Whereas now it's going to go golden and crispy and delicious. Okay? There we go. So let me just pour that on there. Which one, Carlos? This one on the top? Right, so if I do that there, and then just spread it out. Now, my batch cook recipe, I'm not going to put the breadcrumbs on because it's going in the freezer. I will do that when it comes out of the freezer. So there is my ready for the oven. Right, so straight in the oven. I've got oven and grill, so because the pasta's hot and everything's hot, I'm just going to grill it till it's golden and crispy. My batch cook, without the topping, is going straight into the freezer. I'm going to make sure that little valve is shut so that I don't get any freezer burn. That is ready for the freezer and it can come straight out and into the microwave and under the grill. Okay, right, so let's have a look. There we go. So the top's nice and crispy. The bottom is all melted and gooey and delicious. Look, I can just lift some of this out. Look at that. There's a proper mac and cheese. Now, whether that's plant-based or whether that's dairy-based, it doesn't matter. It's an absolutely delicious. If you want the recipe for this amazing mac and cheese, scan the QR code that's running along the bottom now, or go to masterclass.co website and you'll find it there. Now that is mac and cheese. It's time to move to the next recipe. Okay, right, now time for recipe number 2. This one's kept me up at night a little bit. I've been developing it, working on it. It was born in my head and then I brought it into the kitchen. There's been a few little refinements, but I think you're gonna like it. It's full of veggies. I've got some beautiful Cumberland sausage with it. And then it's got this sticky glaze with mango chutney and chili and a little bit of vinegar and herbs. It is a killer dish. Carlos, I think you're gonna like this one. This is right up our street. This is boys' food, but actually it's packed full of veggies as well, so it's gonna be a good one. It is gonna be a good one. Right, we're gonna start butternut squash, okay? So it is sweet, it's kind of tender. I'm going to cut it like this. So if you ever wondered how to prepare a butternut squash, this is how you do it. Take the bottom off as well, so we've got flat bases to work from, okay? And then I'm just going to use my 20 centimeter edge keeper, all right? And I'm just going to cut it and turn it until I get all the skin off. You can peel it, and it will peel, you know, but you probably have to peel it 3 times just to get that outer layer off, okay? Which is why I prefer to use a knife. But you can see, if I use the Y peeler, it does do it as well. There you go. But you have to do it quite a lot. And I like a knife. My knife is never far from my hand, so we'll go with the knife. Now, but the bottom half, I'm just going to cut as well. You have to remember that this has got the seeds in the middle. So we'll get the skin off first. And then we can get stuck into this, okay? Right, let's pop that over there. I've got a little jug there for all my peelings. So we'll cut the bottom half in half and then into quarters, okay? And then I'm gonna grab myself a spoon. To be honest, it's the easiest way. You see this all right, Carlos?
Perfectly.
Yeah, good. And then just kind of scrape out all the seeds and the little sort of stringy bits, all right? And then just pop those on there. We'll do the same with this one. I do like a butternut squash. It's a great vegetable, or a squash really. It's not technically a vegetable, it's a squash. But it's got a lovely texture and the sweetness, and it's going to work really well with all the other veggies that we are using. So let's get on with that. So they're done. And then we're going to cut the long tube side down the middle, cut it into quarters. Same again. It's quite important to cut everything into approximately the same size because you want everything to cook at the same time. What you'll notice is we've got some nice camera movements today because I've treated Carlos to a new toy for the camera setup. And you might have seen it. We did a behind the scenes the other day. And I showed you around the studio, coffee machine, that's the important bit to me. And then all the camera rigs and everything. So Carlos is just working on managing not only 4 cameras, but 4 cameras plus a jib that moves. So he hasn't got a lot to say today because his mind is fully focused on trying not to mess up. Okay, right. But it's going well so far, isn't it, pal?
So far.
We're all right. So, red onion. I'm going to peel a couple of red onions. All right, and make sure I leave the core at the bottom. As I've said to you all many, many times, leave that bit there. All right, you see that bit there? See that on top, Carlos? That core on the red onion will hold it together when we're cooking it, all right? So keep it. Otherwise, the onions will fall apart. They'll become really thin pieces. And when they're really thin, they'll burn, all right? And we want everything to be nice and sweet and roasted, okay? So, onion. I'm going to cut them into, each half into 3. So, into 6 pieces, and making sure that that core holds all the onions together. Now, I've got casserole dish here, big roaster, big deep roasting tray really. And it's on the heat, and I'm going to add some of this lovely new rapeseed oil from Cumbria, which I've just discovered this week. In with our onions. In with our squash. Okay, they can get started. And then I've got a couple of carrots. You watch my Labrador start to circle the kitchen when she knows there's a carrot about. Pip, where are you? You want a carrot?
She's sleeping today.
Oh, she's gone to sleep. She's missed out. If she hears this, that's when she knows carrots are being cut. Oh, Pip, I thought you'd be here. I'll have to save you a piece. So I've just cut the carrots into sort of matchsticks. Quite small. Now, carrots are the ones that will take the longest to cook. Okay, so they go in. Parsnip, nice winter. It's all wintry veg with a slight sweetness about them. Carrots are sweet, parsnips are sweet, butternut squash, red onion. They've all got a bit of a sweetness to it. So that's why I've selected them to go together on this. Take the top off. And then I'm just going to cut the core out of the parsnip because it's generally quite sort of stalky and woody and not great for eating really. There we go. So I'm going to whack those in half and they can go in as well. All right. So we want some salt in there now because the salt is going to draw the water out in these veggies and allow them to roast up a little bit better. I told you she'd be here. Pip, sis, come on, there you go. There we go. Never one to miss a carrot, she is. Okay, that's made her one happy dog. Right, so let's give these a good stir round. Get them all cooking. I mean, that already looks like a great dish to me. Okay, so a little bit of red chilli, all right? Bit of heat, because we've got lots of sweetness, natural from the veggies. So let's get some chilli, and we like a bit of chilli, don't we, Carlos?
Yeah, I like the spices.
Yeah, a little bit of spice in there. Put as much or as little in as you like. I always think the bigger you cut the chilli, the easier it is to maneuver around it if you don't like them. And then I've got some garlic. Now, I want the whole bulb in there, so I'm going to cut just the first top quarter off, like that. And I'm going to put the whole thing in, and the cut side down onto the pan, which means it'll all caramelise and go delicious and sweet. I've got some fresh thyme. About a tablespoon of fresh thyme in there. And then I have got some Cumberland sausage, all right? This is going to be good. It is very much a marriage of British classic sausages, winter veggies, and then we're going to hit it with some Indian spice. It's going to be delicious. So in with my sausages. Okay. Now, Nigella seeds are going to be really, or black onion seeds, are going to be a lovely sort of contrast to the sweetness of everything going on. And then I've got some garam masala. So it's like a spiced blend. You could use a curry powder if you wanted to. Now I'm not trying to turn this into a curry. I'm trying to just use those spices and those flavour profiles. So it's just a little hint. And the character of this dish is going to completely change now I've added that. What are you thinking, Carlos? Looks good?
Looks amazing.
You like the look of this, don't you?
Yeah.
Can you smell the curry now?
Can I smell it from here, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, look. Okay. Those spices have caught the back of my throat, big time. Anyway, we're all good. We'll be fine. Right, so, let's have a little look. I mean, you can look. Can you see this, Carlos, here? With your new fancy camera? Look, everything's caramelising and we're getting flavour on there. Yeah? The garlic is starting to go golden and crisp. We want the sausages on the bottom of the pan to do the same. Right. Okay, this can now go in the oven for about 35 to 40 minutes until the veggies are tender and the sausages are cooked. Okay. Right, that's looking good in the oven. Now, to make the dressing, to make it all kind of nice and sweet and sticky, we're going to use mango chutney because that's going to work really well with all the flavours that we've put in the roasting tray already. So I'm going to take a good couple of dollops of mango chutney. Now, if you haven't got mango, you could use another chutney if you wanted to. I'm going to balance the sweetness of the chutney with some cider vinegar. You could use lemon or you could use lime, would work really nice. But it's very much about getting the balance of flavours right. Because if you just chuck mango chutney in there, I think it's going to be a bit sweet. So that little bit of balance of acidity with the vinegar and the mango chutney is just going to, I mean, sausages love sweetness. They love sort of chutneys and sticky sweetness. And that balance of vinegar is going to work really, really well. So if you have any questions today, because Carlos has none, because his head is going to explode with gadgets and cameras and things like that, please post them in the comments below and I will answer them as best I can. If any of the questions are about equipment, just go to cookserveandenjoy.com and you'll get everything you need. Everything I use here in the kitchen, you can get from Cook, Serve and Enjoy. It's a great place to put it all in one place. And our recipes are available if you scan the QR code along the bottom. It'll take you to masterclass.co and you'll find the recipes there. Okay, right, so that's the vinegar and the mango chutney. Now let's just, a little bit of coriander stalk in there will be lovely. So I'll just grab the stalky bits and we'll chop those up. And we'll keep the leaf for the end and that'll give a lovely fragrance and it will lighten it up. So I'll pop that there and that can go in there. Now, what we are going to add is pomegranate. It's a really nice, in the UK, it's kind of seen as a winter fruit because it needs the sun all summer long and the autumn just to kind of ripen up. And it's always a bit of a gamble as to what's going to be in the middle, but it is beautiful and crimson and delicious. So all I'm going to do is squeeze one half into our dressing and the other half I'm going to use at the end. So you get the sweet, fragrant, light bursts of acidity from the raw pomegranate and then we get some nice bits. So I'm just going to crush that half like so. So it's like squeeze from the top, squeeze from the side, squeeze from the top, squeeze from the side. And then using, what can we use? Back of a spoon, just tap it. And you will end up with all these lovely pomegranate seeds. Look at that. Do you like a pomegranate?
Love it.
Do you have a lot in Spain, pomegranate?
Yes, but we have it more like a September time.
Yeah.
No,
so it needs all summer long, doesn't it?
Yeah. We used to grow pomegranate. We used to have pomegranate trees.
Nice. Trees.
Yeah.
There we go. So we're just going to stir that together. So a quick recap on what's in here. Mango chutney, vinegar, one half of the pomegranate and the coriander stalks. Okay, so everything's kind of part cooked, halfway there. All right, let's pop that over there. What I'm going to do is take our dressing, which is our mango, pomegranate, vinegar, and coriander stalk. Oh my goodness, this looks so good. I can't wait to eat this. And then just give it a really good shake, good stir, so that everything gets that little coating of sweet stickiness. See, Carlos, you've been at work all day and then this gets popped on the table. You're going to be a happy boy, aren't you?
I'm going to be happier than ever.
Yeah. Right, let's pop this back in the oven so everything goes nice and sticky. Okay. Right, this smells amazing. I am looking forward to showing you this. There we go, look, let's get that on the heat there. And everything's kind of gone nice and sweet and sticky, and I've just put it on the hob on a sort of low heat to continue to reduce that liquid down. But it smells It smells flipping amazing, I'll be honest with you. What do you reckon, Carlos?
Smells absolutely.
You up for this?
Also,
But you can kind of see everything's reducing down and getting nice and sweet and sticky. Now, for me, the way to finish this is with that lovely little bit of freshness. Now, I've got some fresh mint, I've got some coriander, and I've got the other half of my pomegranate. That's just going to create a lovely finish to this. Now, I'll just grab a knife. Let's just chop this coriander up, but I cannot stress to you how important. Do this at the very, very last minute before you serve it, because you want that freshness to counter the sweet, the sticky, the rich, the delicious. Okay? So once it's done, the squash is nice and tender, the sausages are sticky and sweet. And there we go. Right. Let's finish this dish. Fresh mint, fresh coriander, and pomegranate. I mean, it is the perfect winter meal, this, I think. This will brighten up your evening when you tuck into this. And there you go. So, today's episode was all about comfort, plant-based as well as meat-based. So it's, you know, the two can coexist together. You might choose to have a plant-based meal today and eat meat tomorrow. It's your call. But I want to create lovely recipes either way. So we've had the amazing mac and cheese with cauliflower in there, made plant-based. And then we have got our sweet, spicy, sticky, Indian-style root vegetable tray bake finished with pomegranate and mint and coriander. Now, if you want the recipes, scan the QR code on the bottom there and it will take you to masterclass.co. You'll get them all there. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.